Aunt May's recipe for wheat cakes. I could never make it work on my own.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be making something for breakfast. Aunt May's wheat cakes. A lot of people requested that I do this, so this one's for y'all. Anyway, in the ever so iconic and expensive Amazing Fantasy 15 from 1962 that introduced the iconic web crawler, we also see the first appearance of Aunt May's wheat cakes, which happens to be Peter's favorite breakfast, even prior to gaining his powers. These wheat cakes will be referenced every now and then throughout Spider-Man's story, with the Untold Tales of Spider-Man annual from 1996 even including a recipe for it at the end of the issue, which is the one we are going to be following today. Now, my kind of breakfast is usually something that's higher in protein, like these Kodiak power cakes with zero sugar syrup, because, you know, I'm one of those annoying people who works out and all. But for the sake of this video, I'm going all in. For this recipe, I don't think I'll actually be making any changes to it because it sounds pretty good as it is, and I was able to get all the ingredients needed. Anyway, for the dry ingredients, it calls for buckwheat flour, which was the only thing that was a little difficult to find. Also sifted whole wheat flour. I already had whole wheat flour from some bread baking I was doing, so all I need to do is sift it. We'll also need some double-acting baking powder, baking soda, and salt. For the wet ingredients, we'll need some molasses, 2 eggs, butter, buttermilk, and, of course, some maple syrup, for which I am going with an amber color one. To get started, combine the dry ingredients in a large bowl. In goes 1 cup of buckwheat flour, followed by 1 cup of the whole wheat flour, which we're going to sift with a sieve. Then we're adding in 2 teaspoons of double-acting baking powder and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and then a teaspoon of salt. Mix it all together so everything is as evenly mixed as possible. I'm using a whisk, but just do your best with whatever you have on hand. Set the bowl aside afterwards. For the next step, in another large bowl, mix together 2 cups of your buttermilk and 2 teaspoons or so of molasses. I say or so because it's so sticky that I really wouldn't bother being extremely precise in this instance. Next, we want to separate the yolks and the whites of our 2 eggs. You can honestly do this earlier than the prior steps too. You can even use your hands to catch the yolks and let the whites drip through your fingers. Whatever makes you happy. Either way, beat the yolks until they're combined. Then we want to melt a 1/4 cup or 4 tablespoons of butter. I just heat it up in the microwave in short bursts. After that, we're going to combine the egg yolks, melted butter, and the buttermilk molasses mixture with our dry ingredients. Please note, we are not adding in the egg whites yet. Mix the ingredients together so that no dry pockets of flour remain. I would recommend being a little diligent about making sure the bottom of the bowl is scraped by your spatula or whatever you're using, as it's easy to miss the dry spots there. The mixture might look a little lumpy and gross, but trust the process. Okay, so the next part is probably the hardest part of the recipe, whipping the egg whites until they are stiff but not dry. Not sure what that dry part refers to, but yeah. I have a stand mixer because my beautiful wife, who is always in the comments section, got me one for my birthday. That was able to happen because I did not sell our marriage to the devil to save my geriatric aunt. Anyway, if you don't have one, perhaps you have this cheap immersion blender that also swaps out to be an electronic whisk. Or you have a proper hand mixer. Or you're a more patient person than me and are fine with manual whisking. I don't have radioactive spider strength, so I'll be using my stand mixer. Either way, whisk the egg whites until stiff, be it by hand or machine. I might have over-whisked mine because I stepped away for a bit and kind of forgot about them. It's at this point you can start preheating your pan or griddle on medium heat. After that, we're going to gently fold the egg whites into the batter. We're not vigorously mixing it in, just some very reasonable folding until you don't see any more egg whites. Now it's time to cook. We're gonna let our pan heat up to around 350 Fahrenheit. I'm greasing my pan with some clarified butter because it's delicious. Use a ladle or some other scoop of your choice to transfer a decent amount of batter to the pan, feeling free to top it off with more batter if you desire. Be patient and let it cook until small bubbles appear on the top. It took about 3 minutes before I flipped mine. You can always take a peek underneath prior to flipping to make sure it's as browned as you want it to be. After flipping, let it cook another minute or 2 so it browns on the flip side as well. Remove it from the pan and repeat the process until you're out of batter. I ended up with a stack of 4 wheat cakes, which I topped with a nice little knob of butter and an equally nice drizzle of maple syrup. And I'm gonna be honest, I really like these and thought they were super yummy. Keep in mind that it's probably because I actually prefer a more whole wheat-ish pancake over a conventional one a lot of the time. Buckwheat flour is also pretty high in fiber, and that's pretty good for you. Anyway, good job, Aunt May. I see why Peter sold his marriage to save you now.